Hello, hola. Welcome to another episode of The Aiden's Jam. If this is the first time we're meeting, I want to say hello. Listen, this podcast was started with the encouragement of women, and I know it's not just women that listen, but with encouragement for us to be pulled out of this earth as the gems that we are, the beautiful gems that we are. Sparkle, beautiful, worth the price. And I pray that with each episode that comes your way, that is what you and I becoming more and more of. The beautiful gems that is decorating that garment of our high priest, Jesus Christ. When we show up in the boardroom, in the kitchen, in the bedroom, on the streets, in the market, that there is a certain sparkle about our lives that attracts people into the kingdom of God. I've never seen anyone, whether they're into material things or not, see something beautiful that is sparkling, that it doesn't get their attention, even just for a minute. Have you ever seen somebody engaged and they pull their ring? And I'm talking about the real sparkle ones, the real diamonds. These days, it's not just diamonds. Some people are getting engaged with sapphire, emeralds, topaz, you name it. And the sparkle on that ring when it's first giving. But over time, like mine right here, don't remember the last time I took it to get it cleaned. And so the wear and tear of life doesn't cause it to sparkle anymore. Is that what you and I have become? Then this month of action, August, let us be the gems that do something like get polished up a little bit so that we begin to sparkle again. Maybe that polishing is you and I smiling a little bit more. It's you and I giving more hugs. It's you and I giving a compliment to somebody instead of being caught up in our own routines and problems and the cares of this world. How about this month? Maybe the only actionable thing that you and I decide to do is that we're going to smile more. Because people have told us that we wear a serious face. At least not you. I've been told multiple times. So now I'm smiling a little bit more. Before we delve into today's episode, let's give a shout out to our production team right here, Bless Production and Eyes Have Not Seen. They bring every single episode to you by making sure the equipment is set, my seating arrangement is good, my poise is good, my sound is good, and they also do the editing. They do the inception of words, the captions. And so please take a half a second. It doesn't take that long to give them a shout out. But today we're talking about how do I become action oriented. There's a difference between how do I take actions to how do I become action oriented. Meaning that I don't just take actions when I set a goal, but I live my life with the orientation of action. I live my life with a focus of action, becoming an action taker. Have you met someone that you just get fascinated by because they don't just talk the talk, but they do the do? That is an action-oriented person. You can take action by setting a goal for one particular area and then it's accomplished and then you go back to your case the rest of our life. Or you can set up an intention and a precept to be an action-oriented person. An action-oriented person is one that can be relied on because they don't just give you their word. They back it up with an action. This month, in order for you and I to become action oriented, we need to glue in on this particular saying from the Bible, which we've learned in previous episode, that is quoted, it is said by James, that I'm not just going to be a faith-oriented believer, but I'm going to be a faith backed up by action-oriented believer. I know that's a mouthful. There's a story, I'm sure you probably heard it, and if you haven't heard it, then you're hearing it for the first time. There are 5 frogs sitting on a log. 4 decided to jump. How many are left sitting on the log? That's a simple math question. 5 frogs sitting on a log. 4 decided to jump. How many are left on the log? You may have quick answered 1. If you answered 1, clap for yourself, because at least you did answer. But the correct answer is 5. Because making a decision to jump is not the same as jumping. And a lot of us have been sitting on a log of life with the intention to jump, but we never do. For you and I to be action-oriented people, we don't just make decisions. We back it up with works, or in this instance, with action. Action, faith, thoughts, words, decisions that are not backed up by doing is not action oriented. So this month, this is what I'm asking of you, and not just this month, but this month and the subsequent months ahead. Sit down and write down the vision. When Habakkuk was complaining to God about his situation and his people, God said to Habakkuk, you have many questions for me, but I have questions for you too. We have many allegations towards God. We're angry, some of us, rightfully so, at God. But don't you think God also has a few allegations towards you, a few complaints? And you're saying, but he's God. He should understand. But you're human. You should be doing. So, sit down. You and I, to be action-oriented, is that we have to develop the principle of consistently getting on our watchtower and looking at the vision that's in sight. Number 1. And number 2, in order for us to be consistently action-oriented, we have to have deadlines to everything that we say we're going to do. You know what is going to get the frogs with the decision to jump from the log into the water? What's actually going to get them to jump is when they now take it and add a deadline to it. My vision is that I'm going to jump in the water. On the count of 3, all 4 of us are going to tag along and jump in. That's an action-oriented person. One that sets the goal but has a time deadline as to when it is going to be done. So today I was supposed to come in to the studio at 10 and get the recording going. You know what was going to happen if I just made that schedule with the director in the studio? Imagine we both said, Thursday, we're going to meet at 10 a.m. Or so the deadline is 10. Imagine if we said to each other, all right, Thursday, we're going to meet and record. And we didn't have a time. What would have happened? The recording wouldn't have happened. Because maybe she is very time oriented. Maybe she would have gotten here at 6 a.m. And I'm thinking, Thursday, I could show up at 11:59 p.m. because it's so Thursday. So decisions without deadlines, I'm rewriting James's letter. Decisions without deadlines is dead end. So become action-oriented by setting goals, put in deadlines, and if you want to stretch it, add an accountability partner, just like the four frogs. If all of them had said, on the count of three, we're all going to be accountable and jump in together, I believe that all five of them would still not be sitting on the log, but they would have indeed backed it up with the action and seen themselves actually swimming in the water. God bless you. I pray again that this Action August, you've received enough nuggets and enough tips to become an action-oriented person. As Jesus says, don't just be a hearer of the word, but be ye a doer of the word. God bless you, and I will see you in the next episode.